Hi, I am Contagion, and today we are doing a PC build. This is not my PC. This is actually a build for a friend who's been using her computer that I built her since 2007, I do believe. Her present computer is a Core 2 Duo, I think of the Wolfdale variety, so processor, PC, RAM, everything, it's long in the tooth. So it's long overdue time for an upgrade, and I'm going to put together today a PC for her. This was built around a $400 budget, and what we're going to find out today is if it actually can outperform my main rig, my i5-3570K, because I think in a lot of tasks it absolutely will. But let's start with the processor. We're going to be using the R5-2400G. Also, mind my very shoddy price tag removal jobs, but half the price tags on these were inaccurate anyway because I got discounts. Since the 3400G recently launched, you can get these really heavily discounted, so this was a no-brainer for the processor. Just over $100. It is 4 cores, 8 threads, has onboard Vega 8 graphics or Vega 12, something like that. A basic graphics solution that will absolutely blow away whatever is on her current computer and actually can play modern games. The motherboard is a ASRock B450M Pro 4. It will be more than capable of handling this CPU and this setup, and it has room for expansion as well. It has a PCI Express slot, both by 16 and by 1, and a regular old PCI slot. So should be a good motherboard. 2 thermal take components. The case here, the V100 basic good case with 5¼ inch bays, very important for a lot of people still today, and this basic 500 watt power supply. To be honest, Thermaltake would not have been my first choice for power supplies, but this one is positively reviewed, and they are generally a good brand, so I'm not too worried about it. As for the memory, we have a 16 gig kit of Ballistics DDR4 3000 megahertz memory, so this will be plenty of RAM, very far into the future will serve her. And finally, one of the biggest upgrades, aside from everything else, literally, will be this SSD, 240 gigabytes, and advertised read speed of 530 megabytes a second, and an advertised write speed of up to 440 megabytes per second. It's going to blow away the hard drive she's using now. I think one of the things that excites me most about building computers for people that are still on hard drives is upgrading them to one of these, because the difference is beyond night and day. Anyway, I'm going to put this thing together, and hopefully in this video we'll get some tests done. So, have fun. we have it built. The Ryzen 5 2400G PC for my family friend is here and built and done. Before we get into my thoughts and everything, how it went, I'd like to point out a few of the just sticking points that I had. Very small ones, mind you, but first and foremost, the power supply mounting onto the case, it was a little wonky on one corner. I had to bend the metal just a little bit to screw it in properly. Not a big deal. The memory did not want to run at its rated frequency of 3000 megahertz. I had to settle for 2800. I tried overclocking, not overclocking, bringing it up to its proper clock, and it just did not want to play nice. So 2800 megahertz, the difference between that and 3000 is not going to be that big. So I think that's a good compromise. And I have to say that I think the Wraith Stealth cooler that is supplied with this processor is adequate, but barely so. I was running Prime 95 just to make sure everything was in line, and it did get up to 89 degrees Celsius and was thermal throttling down to nearly 3500 megahertz, and it's rated for 3600. So it was getting a little toasty, but again, that's a very hard FPU workload. So in real-world use, it's not going to matter that much. But impressions of the system, did it in fact beat my Dragon? And the answer to that question is yes, handily so. The only time my computer came even close in terms of benchmarks was with Cinebench R15 single-threaded. The very best score I could get out of my computer was 149. And this new PC here got 151. But after that, the differences are just really stark. 791 for the multi-core in Cinebench R15, whereas my PC is somewhere in the high 500s, like 591. My laptop, which is an i7 hyper-threaded, gets like low 600s. So this thing is really fast with that. I did a Blender render of the Barcelona. I did it on my PC because I was going to benchmark with a new PC and compare my new PC, that is. But my PC, Dragon right here, did it in 38 minutes and 1 second. This PC did it in 25 minutes. Sorry, 25 minutes. So that is a huge step up. I mean, it's just so much faster. I'm really impressed. Memory bandwidth on this new computer is just over 31 gigabytes. On this computer, on my computer, it is around 20-ish. So that just, yeah, DDR4 versus DDR3, 2800 megahertz versus 1866. In Cinebench R20, it got a score of 1735. I forget what the Dragon gets, but it's definitely lower than that. And Crystal Disk Mark, the SSD didn't read quite as quickly as it was advertised at only 354.9 megabytes per second, which is still really fast, but the write speed was 514 megabytes per second. And throughout the tests, the speed kind of stuck really high. I'm really impressed by the results. It's gonna blow away any hard drive at all. I tested the performance of the CPU as well as the onboard GPU, and I have to say, these systems have come such a long way. Like, for $400, $380 minus the Windows license that I still have to get for it, you get something that is capable of playing modern games with dialed-back settings, and I am just super impressed. You would be able to handily play Fortnite, PUBG, any kind of modern game, even the new Battlefield probably at lower settings. And it's just cool that for so little money you could do that. And this computer has like workstation capacity as well. Like if you're doing video production, this thing is better than what I'm using. Compiling code, stuff like that, it would handle it. It would handle it well. So all in all, I'm really satisfied with this build. I think our friend's gonna love it. It came together really well. It was really easy, really straightforward. And I had a good time doing it. And it's just really heartening to see, like, processors have come so far because I didn't think in the single-core benchmarks that it was going to beat my 3570K just because I have it overclocked to 4.2 gigahertz, but it still did. In one, just barely, but in most, the differences were pretty stark. Like, it's definitely faster in every test and by a decent amount. And, it's just cool too, because when I finally get my 3900X, the difference is going to be even larger. So happy to have that. You guys see that I've got Heaven running in the background at 1440p with some settings turned down. It's maintaining 30 frames a second, but all in all, good build. I'm glad I did it. And if you're in the market for a PC like this, starting out, what I would recommend is don't go with the Wraith Stealth Cooler. Get something like a Hyper 212 and overclock it a bit, because you'll be able to squeeze even more performance out of it. And I'm not going to overclock this because the stock cooler is kind of at this processor's limit anyway. So I think it's just great where it is. And I am going to be happy to give it up to the person who bought it. Anyway, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Feel free to subscribe, because once I do my computer and it works, that'll be on here too, and we'll have more benchmarks. Sorry I didn't put any charts up, but this was kind of more of a lazy type video. Just, you know, I didn't really need to put charts up, I don't think. And yeah, let me know what you guys would like to see, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.